Again, very sad day today, what I just found out. Huh?
Yeah, we talked about that, and we can talk about it again, obviously, and get your opinion on it and take. And
Yeah.
Steve's coming at us sideways here.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, Steve's doing a special workout.
To do with diuretics, I guess. Huh?
Well, his coach was asked from somebody down there, and he said he had not started them yet. What do you think?
I don't know what concept they have, and what, you know. I mean, this is now how many days out?
3, right?
3 days out.
Yeah, he starts Fridays. They're prejudging.
Yeah, so my athletes wouldn't start any form of diuretic before Thursday, so I have no reason to believe that's not true. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So did he have a heart attack, or what happened?
He was. They have not done the autopsy yet. He was just found today about 12 o'clock, and he was found. He probably had been deceased for about 3 or 4 hours when they found him, and he was face down. They said he had a little blood coming out of his nose, which indicates maybe a hemorrhage.
Hemorrhage, sure, yeah. Something like that. Yeah. It's just kind of think about it. Just did not just have what's his name, Woods? What's his first name? The owner of the Olympia.
Jake Woods.
The Manions have a meeting about coming in, changing the judging criteria slightly.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how that ever should work. I mean, it's just what you're gonna do, like Nasser beating Dorian every time because Dorian is too hard. I mean,
no, I think that's absurd. I think that's like that wouldn't be a good route to take the sport.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not doable, in practice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One year when I was competing, I honestly can't remember what year it was, but we were all tested only for diuretics.
Yep.
We weren't tested for anything else, but we all went straight back after the prejudging. We all had to go in the restroom, and literally these guys watched you pee in a cup, and they tested it, and the list was all diuretics.
Yeah, we were tested 96, 97, 98, and 99 at the Olympia for diuretics, recreational drugs, and clenbuterol.
Yeah, clenbuterol. I remember clenbuterol being on the list. Yeah, I don't know why that was on the list. I don't see why.
I remember, when that letter made the round, 96 month before the Olympia, that we are being tested. First, they wanted to do blood tests, but then there was dropped later. And we all were looking for alternatives, but didn't find really any, at least not me, and then ended up doing natural diuretics. And in 96, you could kind of tell at the Olympia that a lot of guys had issues with being not as hard as usual.
Yeah.
97, it was already pretty much better. In 98, it was back to normal. I mean, everybody was kind of in the similar shape as they always been. What I do remember is that I heard that the atmosphere backstage changed tremendously, from everybody just laying around being tired to being pretty active and talking, once they
right.
Yes, but I was pretty happy with the diuretic tests. I had them as an amateur anyway, so I would be totally fine with doing that again if it saves people's lives. So
I think it's a good thing. I really do. I think not testing for anything else, but testing for diuretics, I think it would be a positive thing, not a negative thing.
That was my question. Do you think they should bring that back?
Well, yeah, I mean, on the other side, the way I use diuretics today with my people, I never had any issues with a couple of half diacides on the day before the show and possibly a half in the morning before the show. I had one guy with a slight stomach cramp, and the guy was homeless. It's a total different story. I had a competitor who was homeless, and he had a slight cramp backstage, and it's not really the day for a funny story, but that was the only one I ever had any issues with. I also start building up mineral deposits the week before. I increase the minerals the week of the show, and I drink all the way to the end, pretty much till at least the night before the show. I never had an issue, and it sure helps tremendously to be a little harder. So But then again, you know, you cannot say, well, let's not do it because some people do it responsibly. So I have no problem with bringing the diuretic tests back. You know, I mean, that'd be a good idea. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, thanks for joining us.
Steve, you look like you're doing a cooking show.
Yeah.
You
You know what? You guys caught me in the middle of something, and I was like, I'm gaining some weight. I'm trying to eat right. I got my stuff here. I got these teriyaki cauliflower wings.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
Jean-Pierre, I've never met you, man, but man, do I know you.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing, man?
Doing good. Doing good. So where are you there? Other than in the kitchen, where do you live?
I'm in Winter Garden, Florida.
Oh, nice.
Where do you live, Jean-Pierre?
Palm Springs, California.
Oh, you're in a beautiful area, man.
Yeah, desert, heat, you know.
I caught the tail end of what you guys were talking about with the diuretics and stuff.
George Peterson.
Pretty amazing because I was part of a lot of different scenarios with that back in the day, man. Some pretty bad ones too, with several other bodybuilders. So.
Momo, right? You were there when Momo died.
Yeah, Momo. I had a couple episodes myself. There was one show in Italy where I, after posing in a, you know, one of the judges brings us up, and I'm at like the 4th or 5th round, and after that I collapsed on the stage on my hands and knees. That was pretty interesting. And the Iron Man in '91, I think it was. I was in the car during pre-judging in the night show, and my sartorius muscles cramped up in the car so bad. We're on the busiest highway in LA. We had to pull over because I thought I was going to die. My legs were just absolutely constricted. I couldn't even understand it, man. But I've heard a lot recently. Ian's shared some stuff with me, and it's pretty sad that it continues to be just as bad or even worse now than it was back in our day.
Yeah. Yeah, they're dropping like fly. I don't know if you heard me, but we were talking about George Peterson. You know, he passed today.
George Peterson. Why does that name ring a bell?
Yeah, he's a 212 pro. He won the.
He's one of the top 212 guys in the world right now. So.
Oh, that's okay. That's goes to show you how much I've been under the loop here, guys.
Currently, he's currently sitting 3 days out from the Olympia. So. Yeah,
they just found him in Orlando today.
Well, wait a minute. So he was going to compete this weekend?
Yeah.
So he just died in my neck of the woods then, you're saying?
Yep, in the hotel, in the Hyatt.
Holy smokes. I'm going there on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just to see some of the guys. I can't believe that. That's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, everybody's still kind of shocked about it.
No doubt. Obviously, nobody really knows what, but there's suspicion. I'm assuming, I'm throwing out there with diuretics, obviously. You know, you're talking one of the best 212 bodybuilders and under in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's he gonna do? I mean, I had no choice. I'm sure you had no choice, Jean-Pierre. So it was just one of those things, man. I hated it. Absolutely despised using that crap, man.
You know, I only used diuretics at the European Tour. We couldn't use it at the Arnold's Classic or Olympia. We had diuretic tests, 96, 97, 98, and 99.
Well, I didn't know that. Wow. Because I competed in 90, 91, and 92, so there was no such thing.
No, there wasn't. The European Tour, you know, of course, I was chaotic how I used diuretics, but thank God I was never in the kind of shape it could really jeopardize me, you know, or jeopardize my health. You know, I was eating so much and being such a water balloon, going from tour to tour. So that kind of, in retrospect, is pretty lucky. But yeah, other than that, on the big shows, I never used it. As an amateur at the Mr. Universe 94, 93, we had strict diuretic tests too, and steroid tests. And then first pro show. Actually, that's not true. In 96 at the Arnold's, my very first pro show, there were no diuretic tests. But my training workout partner, you know, we didn't have really coaches back then, convinced me that I shouldn't do diuretics. And I mean, as I was, again, a little bit too big and too full, but I did the only pro show I wasn't tested. One of the big ones, I didn't use any diuretics. Yeah, that's why it was not that much of an issue for me. Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Interesting.
It's crazy though. It's something needs to be done about it. It really does. There's just way too many people passing away.
Yeah. No fun, you know. It's unbelievable.
But nobody knows if it was anything to do with George's passing, though, do we? None of us know that.
Not yet. Not enough information yet.
Well, of what you guys said with the nosebleed and thing, you know, that's some kind of something burst somewhere, guy. I don't think that had anything to do with diuretics.
Yeah. Jason, you also said that they found him face down, correct?
yeah, he was found face
So
down.
he could have possibly fell face forward, and that could have maybe possibly busted his nose, busted the butt.
Possible.
So
Yeah.
let's just hope, man, because that's we don't want the sport to keep getting such bad stigmas of the diuretic use. And
You know, it's sad, man, because it brings back, my mind is racing from 92 with Momo and brings back a lot of bad memories. And yet it still continues to this day. And we're talking 30 years ago, man. Think about that, guys. That's 30 years ago, and they're still experimenting with this stuff. But obviously today, there's a lot more powerful diuretics out there, obviously. And yet, for the most part, correct me if I'm wrong, the audience, they want to see this. They want to see the freaks, the monsters. They want to see somebody who they've never seen before. And again, it goes back to last time I spoke to you guys, you know, the bodybuilding today, as far as I'm concerned, is not like it was back in the 80s and 90s. And so for people wanting to see that, what do you think these guys are going to do? They're going to follow that path. They're going to take this stuff because they want to do the best, right?
I think what often is the case, I mean, when I look at some of my athletes, you know, I mean, with just a minor, I mean, a weaker potassium-sparing diuretic on just the day before the show, they're hard enough to win pro cards and to win big shows. I mean, it's just often is you just have to get that body fat down, you know. It's just, you know, just going into heavy and then trying to get rid of too much water. You know, I think it's just often it's just people going too heavy and then try to correct it with diuretics. And then when you hear of that plan, the woman who died, what was it, a couple of weeks before the Arnold's?
yeah,
Oh, at the Tampa Pro?
Yeah, when you look at that program, that's crazy. You know, when you have different diuretics, you know, over a 7 or 10 day period, and you know, I mean, you're just asking for trouble there, you know.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Jean-Pierre. I think a lot of athletes nowadays that I see, they want to take diuretics to get rid of water, but it's not water they're carrying, it's fat. They haven't got lean enough. You know, none of those diuretics are going to do, well, they'll do a little bit, but you're not really going to see that real peeled, you know, shrink wrapped look until your body fat's low enough. Simple as that. You know.
that's what it comes down to. I mean, you should look ready to compete. You should be ready to step on this. Look like you're ready to at least step on the stage the week before, a couple weeks before the show. And
That's true. Absolutely. I was told that from a long time ago, and I never took diuretics till my first year as a pro. As an amateur, I never touched them, and you hit the nail on the head with that again. It's a lot of people, guys and girls, they think that they need diuretics because a couple of days out, something's not right. Well, what's not right is you didn't get your body fat down to that percentage. I've experimented with that back in the day, and I'm still familiar with it today. And I know how it works. I know what it does. But if you're ready 2 to 3 weeks before a show, you can dial in without having to use diuretics. And there's absolutely natural ones that you can take also that actually help. There's certain types of herbal teas, and it's not over the crazy where it's harming your body. But again, it's keeping your body fat down, man. And that's a lot of mistakes. It's a big mistake a lot of people make, I think.
Yeah. What's a dandelion root or something like that?
Dandelion root is what I used to use.
Yeah.
I used to use dandelion root, dandelion herb, and yarrow.
yeah, I have competitors that are so conditioned and ready to go that I never stop their water. I have them drink, like, Brandon, right? I had him drinking 4 gallons of water the day before his show, and a gallon the morning of, and he was still peeled out of his mind because his body fat was so low, and he didn't have to pull water, so he kept his fullness.
Yep.
And then it was and he just came in perfect because the body fat, like I said, with the conditioning was on point.
Yeah, I remember when I came to you, Ryan. My prior preps was like you cut the water out. You know, I think it was like a gallon Wednesday, half a gallon Thursday, and then Friday was none. With
Right.
you, I was sucking water down all the way almost, I think, till Friday, and I was
See,
a little worried, but I looked great.
and see, that's where most people miss the mark is they start changing everything up the last few days before a show.
Mhm.
When the body's in conditioning, then you're trying to push all these carbs, but then you're lacking of water. So that intracellular water is what holds the glycogen.
Mhm.
So you're never going to fill out. Then you cut sodium on top of that. Then you use diuretics. It's just a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I talked about in many podcasts, you know, the second I pulled water, things started to go downhill from there.
Yeah.
The thing is, to me, what I hear a lot of people doing that, like pulling, like 4 days out to start to reduce the water each day. To me, you're just giving your body a warning. And if you don't give your body water, it's going to hold on to water. So you kind of turning everything upside down. If you keep giving your body water, your body doesn't have to retain water because it's getting plenty.
Yeah, the more actually, and that's the way I do it. The more my athletes drink, the more their bodies flush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the less you drink, the more your body's going to hoard because it doesn't want to be in a dehydrated state.
Exactly.
And that's the thing is when things are working, most guys want to call it peak week and start changing everything.
Yeah.
If you're ready, you're ready. I mean, all you got to do is just minimal, maybe add a little bit of carbohydrates in and just.
And every athlete who I have the first time, you know, which didn't do any preps with me before, it's tough for me to even convince them not to drop the water.
Yeah, they're so used to it.
It's
That's
such a, you know, it's almost like it has to be dropped, you know, and it just they text me 7 times a day. Do I cut in half? Do I say no? The protocol is you drink till midnight.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And I know-
one of the you hit the nail on the head a while ago again. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is when you're ready a week or 3 or 4 days before or 2 weeks, and you start changing things, what happens is, you know, being in the nutrition field for 35 years, your body goes into survival mode.
Yep.
So your brain senses this and says, okay, guys, we got a problem here, man. We're not getting any liquids. We've got this food going on, so we're going to hoard this stuff. And that's how the body works in a nutshell. I mean, there's you know, in scientific view, it's complex, but your body's going to shut down. And I remember that in the bodybuilding days, I made those changes. When I stopped making those changes, things were great.
Yep. If it's not broken, you don't fix it. That's, I mean, this,
Exactly.
everybody wants to try to, you know, to push that little 1% extra and they lose 10%. And then
Yeah.
that's why you see all these guys on Instagram, they look amazing, but when they step on stage, it's just, okay, what's this?
Yeah.
It's just golf. So
And that'll I'm gonna show you guys a picture. I know you may have seen this. It's been kind of circulating around, and you the old school guys will appreciate it. And tell me, and we'll talk about it before we go to our talking about the Olympia. You guys seen this?
yeah.
And you got Nick here, Ian. So basically, these are what, 90s guys, right?
Yep.
To today.
Lex and Chris.
Yeah. You see the difference in the conditioning?
This is
Classy physiques to over gargantuan warriors from another planet. Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah. I'm gonna let you guys talk about that. I don't want to.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's an obvious, you know, difference in the look. If you look at the two eras, I mean, the further we've come, the more complex we've tend to make the sport of bodybuilding.
Mhm.
There's a million different training philosophies now. There's a million different approaches to training. There's a million different approaches to nutrition. I mean, I think that's where the difference is just taking what should be simplistic and complicating it. And there's a million different avenues. Then you get the physiques are just, I mean, with the training, I mean, you just don't see the basic hardcore stuff anymore. People just want to do machines and do all kind of different philosophies. And it's all over the place with the training and the nutrition. So I think that's where the difference in the eras have started. So.
But if you look at how the guys got there today, and the girls for that matter, is who's pushing that agenda? Who's rewarding people at that level, right?
That was gonna be my question. Is this the judge's fault?
Well, I mean,
Well-
the judges can only judge what's in front of them, correct?
Right.
So, I mean, that judges have a very hard job. I think it's tough when you have, certain physiques in front of you. You just got to pick out what's the best of the class.
But don't you think they set a standard back then where they just started seeing, like, for the lack of a better word, the more distorted, big look instead of that classy physique bodybuilder like back in our days in the 90s and so on. But I mean, who else would judge that? I mean, if you got this person on stage, wow, that's an interesting look. This is a different thing. And so we have to go back to the era of Momo and Dorian. They kind of set that standard. I like Dorian's physique the first time I saw him in 91 at the 90 Champions when he placed second. I thought he should have won the show. He had such a classic physique. And of course, he just went further beyond. And I think he still looked good for a couple of years, but eventually he took it to another level too. And that what was being rewarded. And of course, who's going to follow suit? Everybody else behind you. Because who do you have to beat? You got to beat Dorian Yates. And then you got to go beat all the other guys. And you got to beat all the bigger guys today. I mean, today, like last year's champion, Rami. I'm sorry, guys. To me, that's not a good physique, a classic, great bodybuilding physique. And forgive me, Rami, I don't know you if you ever see this, but that to me is not bodybuilding. And as far as I'm concerned, the way they posed today with that look, if you go back to that picture, Jason, you saw the double biceps in each picture. Look at how classy it looks for the guys back in our day. And look at how the other guys look, and their legs are flared out. And they just, you see, there's no sweep. There's no classic look to it. That's just how I feel about it,
So obviously my obvious question is, obviously the guys of today would not be able to hold up to these guys back then, correct?
No.
Who do you think is today that is close to these guys? Who would y'all say is one of the top?
I mean, first of all, when we go from this picture here, I mean, it's a little bit misleading. I mean, you have three of the most talented guys in the history of the sport against, at least two of the three, let's say, with average genetics, But also, I mean, there was such a massive talent in the 90s. And now we also have all those different categories, I mean, if you would now think of every great physique guy today, they would have to compete in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there would be a lot of guys, and then some guys with less genetics would have a bigger problem. So back then there was bodybuilding and nothing else. There was no other category to go to, or you just didn't compete. So
I agree 100%. And I've said the same thing. There's too many other options. Like when I first started the sport, I only had one option. It was bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So now these other guys who do have these beautiful flowing physiques, like you said, they're either in physique or they go to classic. So,
and I was one of the first ones who was probably pretty criticized for the way I looked, but when I had a body where I knew to make a mark, I have a certain chance and I need to be bigger than anybody else. I'm never going to look like Flex Wheeler or I remember in the mid-90s, the trip to LA, I walked into Flex Wheeler at an opening of a gym, and I knew right there when I saw that guy and how those muscles were flowing, and there's no way I can ever look like that. So I gotta have to blow myself up. And the reason I didn't win was more deeper. It was more of a presentation and not controlling my midsection or not knowing what the hell I'm doing in the week of the show. But that's why I would love to have looked a little bit more classic, but it's just when you look at my physique early years, when I had more of a classic look with a much, much smaller midsection, there's just no way I could, that was still okay, but it's not classic in a sense, guy. This is a 290-pound, it's a good picture, let's put it this way. But my chance, I had to be really, 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 really big, and that was my chance. So I couldn't be classic in that sense.
I remember those shots back then, Jean-Pierre. That was
This is 90. It says 96 here.
Yeah, that show was, you know, it was competing 20 minutes from my home. You know, it was the Olympia Revenge in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm gonna some other time go into details why I looked the way I looked that show, but it was a lot of by accident stuff here, you know, experimenting, you know, crazy things. You know, this was 97 without any diuretic, you know, it's like you can be hard without diuretics.
I was gonna say that. I mean, you're a lot leaner here, so with no diuretic, that's awesome.
Without doing any diuretics, yeah.
Wow.
But yep, good times, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, you know, I don't think that there's just a lot more talent, you know, in the bodybuilding category back then than it is today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm sure if you put a Rami in the shape of last year, put into the 97 Olympia, I mean, it's gonna be very hard not to have him in the top 3. You know, I mean, it's gonna be very, very hard. You know, I mean, when you look at how watery Nasser was at the 97 Olympia, and Rami is like 25 pounds heavier. I mean, you know.
But I think there was also a more of an appeal to be an IFBB pro back then as well. I think there was more prestige as well that came with it. I mean, so these more gifted, talented individuals. I mean,
it was much harder to become a pro, and you know, we looked up to the pros like they were gods. You know.
Yeah, they're like, you know, sports celebrities. You know.
Hey, yeah. Jean-Pierre, I got a question. What do you think of the way they handled the pro cards and in today's day and age with the IFBB? What is your opinion on that?
Well, I talked to even the head judge. I'm wondering why. I just can't figure it out. I mean, first, this always has to do with money in some way. But then again, you pull all those people out of the amateurs, which also pay entry fees and stuff. I just do not understand it. And the explanation I got was, well, when we started when we dissolved ourselves from the other side of the European IFBB, the president of the IFBB, Raphael, he didn't honor the pro card commitments. You know, people had to give him a lot of money, even if they had the pro card. So now we have to, for a few years, open the pro cards for more. But this discussion we had like 4 or 5 years ago. Now it's still, I call it more at this point the end of the career card, you know?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Being so ridiculous. You know, I get text messages every day. I'm an IFBB pro. I never freaking heard of you, you know? When you were an IFBB pro, when I was younger, I knew who those people are. I don't understand it. I try to put my head around it because I know those people who are making those rules are not stupid. They're very intelligent people. And I just don't understand it. When you look at the USA Championship in the 90s, you know, and Ronnie plays, and, you know, it's just why pulling all of those people out of the amateur to give them pro cards? I don't understand it. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. You know, it's not the money. I don't know what it is. It's just stupid. It really is.
Yeah, as an IFBB pro, you have a $300 and something annual card fee. So
yeah, but
it's a big business as well.
Yeah, but those people who compete in amateur shows, they have to pay entry fees there. You know, I mean, you're gonna pay money in an amateur show than the $300 a year pro card.
Yeah. I agree. I think as well, from what I've seen, the standard in the NPC as an amateur has dropped tremendously because most of the good amateurs have already got the pro cards, but they're not really good enough to be competitive pros. Even though they've got the pro card, it's almost like it's a status thing now. But I know for a fact in 2019, the NPC gave away 1,072 pro cards in the USA alone. Just in the USA. Well, when we were competing, there weren't 1,000 pros in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think you're lucky there's only 40 or 50.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But to me, it's like printing their own money. Like when a country prints their own money, you devalue what it means.
Yeah.
You devalue the prestige. And I think if they carry on doing what they're doing, there's going to be so many IFBB pros that no one's going to give a shit. Excuse my language.
No.
Well, Jean-Pierre said it right. I mean, back in the day, you knew all the pros.
Exactly.
Now he's like, you're a pro? What category? What do you do? Because you don't look like a pro. You can't say that.
Well, I put my foot in my mouth a few times. I think I brought this up before. I was doing a promo for the PCA, like an outdoor nutrition store. We were doing like booths in the parking lot, and this guy came up, and I was trying to be nice. I said, you know, you've got a pretty good physique. You should think about competing. He said, I turned pro last weekend. And I'm like, oops. No, I thought you looked okay, but I didn't think you looked that good. It's kind of, it's crazy. It really is. It's crazy. But you know what we do with PCA, we're limiting the pros, and we're only giving the very best of the best pro cards, and hopefully the NPC will go to follow suit again, and they'll be able to bring it back to being a prestigious thing rather than just one of many. Hopefully.
You know, I had one chance to win a pro card, and that was the Amateur World Championship, winning the heavyweight. That was, you know, I mean, since I wasn't a US citizen, you know, with a couple of more chances in the United States, or every 4 years go to the World Games, you know, win there. That was the two chances I had, and I wish it would be still the same way.
Right.
No, I agree totally. I think, I mean, the year I turned pro, I won the British Championships, heavyweight and overall, and only the overall winner got the pro card. So you had one man from the UK each year, and we were lucky because, like in Switzerland, that you didn't have that choice. You had to go to the World Championships, right?
I was never happy about the exception, the United Kingdom.
I'm sure you weren't.
Happy. Why those people have to come to Miss Universe? I always blamed it on, they just don't want to do the drug testing we have of the Miss Universe. You know,
right.
how big the level, or high the level was in the United Kingdom and in England. I mean, I totally get it, you know, that totally okay to give those guys a pro card if you win that, you know.
Well, I think that all started like the year before me, which was Dorian. The year I won the Junior Universe and the Junior Britain was 1988. That's when Dorian got his pro card in the IFBB, which is like the NPC in England. And then that's what, I'll be honest with you, that's why I switched federations. I went from NABA to IFBB. I was still a junior, and I competed in there because Dorian was the first guy out of the UK that people actually knew could do something as a pro. So I followed that route. Otherwise, I'd have stayed NABA back in the day. But yeah, it's I agree with you, Jean-Pierre. I think it should be brought back and be a bit more exclusive. I think they're giving away way too many. And like Ryan said, I mean, they're paying like $350 a year. So I mean, do the math. 1,072 times 350 is a shit ton of money.
But it's also,
let alone every single year.
Also, if you look at the number of entries into these pro qualifiers here within the NPC, like the USAs, the North Americans, the Nationals, now there's the Masters and there's the Team U, and all these. I mean, if you look at the number of entries, I mean, every pro qualifier you go to, the entry levels are through the roof, because I think they feel it's a little bit more attainable to get a pro card. So the numbers are just like, every year they're just higher and higher and higher with the number of entries. It's crazy.
To me, that's why they're doing it. I mean, it's purely logical. It's a business move that they're doing it because they're making a lot of money doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it frustrates me because, you know, all that money is being made from the athletes. It's not being made from selling tickets. It's not being made from putting on good shows and people wanting to go and view a good show. All the income is coming from the athletes that are making that show, and to me, that's frustrating. That's very frustrating to me.
I think they're making a shit ton on entries too, because I just went to the show last week and it was like I mean, I had an athlete in the Daytona Beach Classic, and I mean the tickets are like through the crazy. It's hard to see how an average family can afford to take their family out to a show when it's prejudging is like $40 or $50.
It's about $130 for both tickets.
Yeah, for one person. You have a spouse and kids, and I mean it's expensive.
That's crazy, man. I mean, you know, bodybuilding is a working class sport, in my opinion. It's not a rich man's sport. It's a working class sport.
Hallelujah.
You should make it affordable. You should make it, you know, like, I mean, I know what we do with PCA. We have kids 10 and under free. So you can bring your kids to watch a show and it's not going to break the bank. I know people that I've prepped for shows that couldn't afford to have the kids come and watch them. How sad is that? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not right. I mean, your whole family goes through that prep where your kids suffer. You know, the wife suffers, and they should all be there to see the fruits of your labor. And I find it very frustrating. I really do. I mean, I hate to go on about it all the time, but I
Yeah.
find it appalling.
I just had a consult with an old client of mine who was telling me that, you know, he was wanting to do the amateur Olympia this past week, but he's like, in order to do it, it was going to cost him at least over $1,000 just to compete that day with the room and the entry fees, tan and all that. So he's like, he had to just, you know, put it off and plan on doing the show next year. So
A lot of money.
I mean,
What about qualifying for the Olympia? Now we're talking about pros. Has that changed a lot?
I mean, it's still pretty hard to qualify for the Olympia. I mean, you have to.
In men's open though, but now they're doing that amateur Olympia, so the amateurs, any amateur can compete in the amateur Olympia, right? You don't have to qualify.
yeah, just pay your entry fee.
Yeah.
To compete at the real Olympia, I mean, that's okay, that system, you know. I mean, you if you want to go through points, you have to really like almost kill yourself. So I don't even know if that's I recommend to any athletes to go down that route to go through points. But then winning a show, I even would give the second place if the first one is qualified already. You know, when you look at the competitor field this week, those guys deserve to be there. So I have no problem with that.
Yeah. Where did Rolly just got second somewhere, and he qualified when he got second?
Overseas at this show in Spain, right?
Yeah, there was some kind of explanation to it why the second one. And normally I would have talked a bit because the first is already qualified, but there was another explanation to it. I don't know exactly what it was, but yeah. So.
Okay. Well, we'll if you guys want, I'm not going to sit here and pull up every picture of every competitor. We'll be here all night. Yeah. So I'll kind of go up the list, and whoever you guys want me to pull up, I'll pull them up.
Well, how many guys are in the Olympia this year?
It's got 20, but about 3 of them. Let's see, the ones that are not competing are I can't even pronounce his name. Vlad. All I'll say is Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad.
He's got
Nathan Diaz is out. He's not making it to the Olympia.
Yeah, Nathan's out. Phil Heath is out according to this.
Heath is not okay.
Yeah,
Phil's not competing. No, he's out.
And I think that's all that I see.
So Rami's the favorite again, obviously.
Well, I don't know. We'll talk about that. Mohammed Shaban. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, no, he's great. He's just he, like you were saying, Jean-Pierre, he's one of these guys who's been competing in every show. So he's been having a hard time like nailing his conditioning, probably due to just fatigue. I mean, he's phenomenal. The guy's got an amazing physique.
I think we brought him up last show. We pulled him up. We were talking about him. His picture was up.
Freaky legs.
He has all the tools. He has all the tools. He just needs to nail his I don't know if it's conditioning or if it's just, who knows? I don't know. He's just not coming in 100%.
Yeah. Next is Hassan Mustafa.
Another absolute freak. I mean, if he would just, if he was to come in 100%, he could stand toe to toe with anybody.
Yeah, well, he's about 10, 15 pounds overweight, you know. I mean,
yeah, exactly. If he came in 100%, which we're yet to see. I mean, he has all the tools to sit there and battle with anybody, but he just can't dial it in for some reason.
It's a shame, really, because once they realize that when they come in really sharp, they're going to look a lot bigger. I mean, it's crazy how big they can look, because that guy's huge.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, that's one thing he does not, lack is size, and I mean, he's complete too. He has everything kind of flows together. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, there's that big question mark over his head. Is he going to ever be able to nail it? I mean,
he's the guy with the sick legs, right? He's got really sick legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Let's see. Next one I'll pull up is Rolly. I'll pull his picture up. Now, he hasn't really been posting any progress photos. This is the latest one I see. He's got some.
That's from a few years back.
Yeah, he hasn't posted anything pre-Olympia.
Yeah, that's probably not. I mean, it could be probably not a good thing then.
Well, I went through every shot when he lost against Nathan. And I went from pose to pose again. I mean, I wasn't there, so it's hard to judge. But I had him winning that show. I think a little bit the problem is that, a guy like him, we judge of the best physique he broke in the past.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge him of what we see, So
Yeah.
what we have seen him, he's still a monster, but he's just not as big anymore as he used to be, And I had him clearly, actually, I had him beating Nathan there, but then again, he used to be better. So that's going to be a big problem for him, So they will not accept any smaller version of his. Probably doesn't matter what shape he's in, So it's going to be probably closer to 10 than to 1, unfortunately.
I mean, that's unfortunate. I mean, you shouldn't be judged on your past physique. You should only be judged about who you're standing next to.
Yeah,
So-
but when you look at him in a double biceps pose against Nathan, I mean, his arm is twice as big as Nathan's, and Nathan's arms are not bad, But then again, it's just not good enough for how he used to be. So I think he's going to be close to 10 somewhere, but I hope I'm wrong. I love Rolly's physique.
Here's Nick. This was posted 12 hours ago. Nick Walker's back shot here.
With Nick, we know, with the coaching he has, he's going to be in shape. And surprisingly, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes on stage. His stomach is for a big guy, really under control.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not a fan of his physique, but it's going to be hard to keep him out of the top 6 if he,
Right.
the way he looks right now with the field we have right now. But if Rami is anywhere like last year, he's going to look 212 next to Rami,
Yeah. Wow. When you look at his veins, though, and now you notice it when they talk about it.
Not pretty. They're going to have to figure this out some way or another. This is just
I mean, that's pretty bad there.
It could cost some sponsor money, everything in the future. This is just it's sad that it's a great athlete like that. It's all you need is the veins, guy. Fortunately, they have to solve that problem, guy.
Yeah.
But I be easily in the top 6. I mean,
I think so too. Yeah. Let's see. Andrea Presti. Is that how you say his last name? He's from Italy.
Can you pull something up? I'm just not really 100% familiar with the guy.
Andrea, let me see if I got him on here.
I've only known one guy so far. Too many new names. I mean, I am familiar with some of them a little bit, but I haven't really followed or paid attention to these guys. I guess I'm just not a fan of the look. But I will be there, Saturday just to go meet some old friends. So we'll see what happens.
I didn't know you were going, Steve. Maybe I should come with you.
It's a little dark. You can't really see much.
That's that Iron Religion over there. And
he's not going to be in the top 10, so.
No.
Yeah, let me see if I can find a.
Good for him. He qualified, and then hopefully he can add on enough.
How did he qualify? What did he win?
I have no idea how he qualified.
Yeah, I'm stumped on that one myself.
Those shows very early in last year, or even pre-Olympia last year, who qualified for 2021. I don't know.
I mean, that last picture, Jason, that most muscular there. When was that taken?
Let's see. This was posted 2 hours ago.
Yeah, that's Iron Religion in Orlando, so that's not too far from the convention center.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a recent picture.
120 kilograms.
Yeah, with the weights, it doesn't really tell you much. When how tall is he?
Let's see. It doesn't say. It doesn't say.
So that's 265. What is the 270, 265, 267?
It looks good. It looks in good condition.
Conditioning really is different nowadays. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Very different.
He sure is a decent bodybuilder, but not this week.
Not really any stage shots, though. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. So.
All right. Next, Patrick Moore.
Patrick Moore.
Yeah, Patrick Moore.
Patrick Moore. Yeah.
He's good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Patrick Moore. Sorry.
Patrick Moore. Yeah. You familiar with him?
He won the California Pro. Correct.
He's really improved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if his legs are quite big enough to move closer to 6 or back.
Yeah, I think he still has a little bit more filling out of his frame to do because he's a bigger guy. So I mean,
did he take last year off?
Even I saw that show he won. I was there. So it's beautiful athlete. It's again, you know, it's just, hopefully he's moving into those top 10, but I don't see much more than that.
Yeah. All right. Hollingshed, James Hollingshed.
No.
Oh, really?
He's a big boy.
I mean, the improvements are quite incredible.
Yeah, he's
I gotta pull him up. He's a big boy.
he's I had some issues with his presentation, but it seems like him and his team have worked on his presentation. He's presenting his physique a lot better, and his just overall size and conditioning looks like he's like ready to.
It's just he has to really be kind of Dorian-esque hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
know?
Here's Iron Religion too.
Yeah, I saw side chest today. Was just posted, I think. It's just a recent picture.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, look, it's gonna be a little different when he stays next to the guys.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing.
when I look at him as kind of like a smaller version of French Warren, a little bit more symmetrical, he just cannot miss a beat. You know, he has to come in the first, second, rock, try hard, harder than anybody else, and then maybe he can slip into the top 10, but I still don't believe so. You know, the legs are not as big as I wish they would be, and but it's very improved. I really like the guy, and he has a good. So if they don't overload him, like Patrick, a little bit the tendency to do, especially in the pre-judging. So yeah, maybe he can move into the top 10, depending on how other people look. But I would be very surprised if he's much more than 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11. You know, so
Yeah. Hey, Ian, it looks like the sun's still, it looks like it's still not shining, and the sun's not shining in the UK still.
He's got great quality though, really good quality muscle, very good quality muscle.
Yeah, he'll
Round muscle bellies. I think it's hard to say, tell until you see them side by side on stage.
Yeah.
I'm just afraid, you know, that they overload them again. You know, so we've seen kind of a little bit of tendency in that team to overload the guys a little bit, and then they have to kind of make up for it from the pre-judging to the finale. And this, I cannot afford that. You know,
it's a little too late at that point. Yeah,
he has to come sharp minute 1, and then who knows? Yeah, I really like improvements. Pretty good job there. Yeah.
Regan Grimes.
Regan, I love Regan. You know, so I just hope he can finally fill in. You know,
What did he place last year?
He qualified, I think, in Romania already. Did he qualify?
yeah, he qualified after the Olympia last year.
Okay.
So he's had the entire year to work on, you know, what he needs to work on to improve.
He seems to be a little bigger, but still not big enough. I was a little bit disappointed to see that he still couldn't. But I, you know, with that rear double biceps pose, and if he's hard, again, you know, it's probably lucky if he comes into the top 10. So put another. But if he improves every year and gives himself another 2 or 3 years and is healthy, who knows? Might be in the top 6 at some point. Yeah, you know, but I don't think
he's got great genetics, don't you, Regan?
Yeah, no, he definitely has a lot of potential and the genetic potential to go far.
I agree.
Justin Rodriguez.
I don't know that one.
Justin, no,
Well,
Justin's great.
Yeah, he almost had him on third at the Arnold's, you know. Then he comes back at the finale, 20% weaker with stomach hanging out like I used to. I don't quite understand it, you know. So yeah, you know, it's gotta have to be like the last 3 guys we talked about. They just have to be 1000% on. Hope that a few others are not, and then who knows? Maybe top 10, but I don't think.
And we all know the likeliness of everybody coming in at their 100% is very slim to none. So there's always guys that miss it.
Chance here, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, he's not on here. Anyways, Hunter Labrada.
I'll
pull him up.
I'm so split on Hunter. I don't even know where to start. You know,
I mean, I love some of his poses, but you know, especially when he turns to the back, I think there's a lot of weaknesses that need to be brought up in his.
Well, here's your back right here.
So I always kind of look at him and Ian, kind of like they were fighting for the 7th spot last year.
Yeah.
In some ways, I believe he's very overrated. In others, not, because other than the chest, he doesn't really have any weaknesses. But he always seems, even if he's hard, he seems to have water on his body.
Yeah.
You know, even when he's hard. But in another way, that I think his rear double biceps pose is way better than Ian's.
Yeah, but he lacks a lot of density in the lower lats. It kind of has like
that too
on the back double bicep.
And
are you guys familiar I mean, obviously, I've competed against his dad for years. I mean, Lee is an absolute classic act, man.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you guys are familiar, because one of the things, even though Lee did very well, I mean, he did way better than I did, but his weakness through the grapevine over the years was his back. And so it's interesting to see that his son has the same thing.
His upper back and his delts, his rear delts. I mean, everything was good, but he just seems to lack a little thickness in the lower lat. Am I wrong? Or?
Yep. Lee Labrada was the same way, man.
I almost feel by looking at that picture that his erectors are overdeveloped and his lower lats are underdeveloped, which kind of makes his midsection look wider.
Or is it just his presence? Is he not arching the lower back enough to flare the lower lats out? I mean,
Maybe.
I give him much more credit in the back than you guys do. I mean, I know he can fill out that lower spot a little bit, but you have to be very careful not to completely alter your physique, you know, when you fill in that spot there. I think his back poses are pretty good, actually. Yes, that lower one, like Wolf used to have. You know, I think his chest is pretty weak. There's no deepness in the chest. And then he has to careful how he does the poses. When you look at the front lat pose here, he can't really put it in like an Ian because of his chest hair. You know? So if he really brings the chest in, then you start to see the chest hair on the left chest. And now look at this back pose; it's not that bad.
Yeah, see the lower lats there; they're more protruding. Where in the rear double, he's not really he's not engaging them as much.
Yeah, he can fill in there a little bit, so it's gonna maybe take another year or two. So I we'll see. You know, maybe 6, 7, 8. I don't know.
Yeah, this was 2 days ago, 48 hours.
Right.
No, actually, my 4 hours ago. My mistake. Yeah.
I think he has less weaknesses than Ian.
Yeah.
You know, but it's been a bit tough for him to move up the ladder. He was 8 last year, you know, and it'll be very tough for him to improve that.
Yeah, and Ian's the next one, so I'll pull him up.
Oh, Ian is I love Ian. You know, Ian is brutal. You know, is it going to be the Ian from the pre-judging of the Advanced Classic or the Ian from the finale? You know, his rear double bicep pose is improved, but still very, very weak. I think Hunter will blow him away in that pose. But others, like front lat pose is crazy. You know, and even without having a triceps, his triceps pose is fantastic. And if he's hard, you know, just don't load so much. You know,
that's the thing.
If he's hard, I see him around 5, you know. See, he has absolutely no triceps, but a fantastic triceps pose, you know. That's kind of
there's no.
But it looks like he's not even. He looks like he's not even locking the arm out and fully engaging the tricep. I mean,
let's see if I can find another one. Well, here's a stage shot.
It's staying in the bent, not extended. So I mean, it doesn't even seem to be engaging the tricep at all.
Well, I went to the same. Let's just be honest. He doesn't have a triceps, you know. It's just as simple, you know. So it doesn't matter what he does there. It's just, but the pose looks good, and you know, if he's grainy hard, I see him 4, 5, 6, and not 7, 8, 9. So we'll see.
Right.
Let's see who's next. Akeem.
Akeem.
Yeah, Akeem Williams. I mean,
isn't that who's training him?
He's working with I think the crew, the Camel crew.
Yeah,
he's one of the oxygen guys. He was with Justin Miller earlier in the year when he won the Puerto Rican Pro, but I don't know what happened. He left him, but he's another one of the guys. He leaves a lot of the coaches that he works with. So I mean, at the Arnold, he wasn't the same version as he was in the Puerto Rican Pro. So
is this the Arnold? Yeah, it's the Arnold here.
Great physique, but conditioning's not there, is it?
Well, he misses it right there when he turns to the back. I mean, his side shots are nutty. His front shots, a lot of them are nutty. It's just when he turns to the back. That
back post there, or when he kind of pulls the lat back, it seemed to be a lot harder a couple of days before in the hotel room, although it's hard to compare. It's a different lighting, I get that. But, you know, it's just something they did not quite, you know, hit right for the Arnolds. I'm a big fan of his.
Crazy.
Yep. he was 6th last year, so if he can hold that, he should be pretty happy. So we'll see.
I mean, after seeing him at the Arnold a couple weeks ago, I mean, I don't know if he's. I mean,
I know that didn't help. That's for sure. You know,
yeah.
but
So hopefully he can. You know, maybe it was just a few little last minute details like we were talking about earlier, where he wasn't able to dial in. So maybe hopefully he can fix those things and bring it in a little tighter this time.
Bonac.
Well, there we go. Now we're getting into the top tier guys. I mean,
Bonag, I think the legs are a little better again. You know, not as good as they used to be, but they're a little better again. I'd be absolutely a top 4 guy. You know, so
I rate him.
Mhm.
I mean, it's incredible. You know, other than being pretty blocky, incredible. There's nothing I can really. You know, his legs were clearly downsized the last couple of years, but from what I saw now, they're slightly better again.
yep. They look like they have.
Yeah, I don't know when I see this now.
Yeah, now I'm looking at his left leg. It looked a little.
Yeah, so if it's not for the leg, then he has a chance of being top 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely. I mean, definitely top 5 guy. He can be as high as 2, 3.
I mean, a top 2, in my opinion, if everybody is in decent shape, it's Hardy and Rami.
Hardy and Rami, 100%. That's my top 2 as well.
The top 2 last year at the finale.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the top 2, I have Hardy. I think Hardy could push Rami all the way.
Hardy in the shape.
Hardy's next, so you can talk about him.
You know, Hardy, the kind of shape he was in Vancouver.
Yeah.
He could really, really, really win. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, we all know that last year he had his issues getting into the country. He wound up getting in just like maybe a couple days prior with crazy travel schedule and some crazy stuff that he had to do just to get here to Orlando. But he's been here for the last month now, so should be much different.
I think he also got much better during the show last year.
Oh yeah, big time from the prejudging to the finals. It was day and night.
So I still think Rami, we don't know exactly, you know, even with the great coach he has, how great he will hit it. You know, so far there was a lot of misses in Rami's career. This guy, if he has the kind of Vancouver shape,
he's just. I'll go on record and say that he'll probably be his best version this weekend. You'll see the best hottie this weekend because I mean,
that means top 2.
100%. I mean, I think he'll have the best physique to date that we've seen from him to any stage. So
he seems to be one of the few guys that actually nails his conditioning on show to me.
He's always on point. Last year, the prejudging at the Olympia, he had a little issue, but they fixed it, you know, in a short amount of time and came back to the finals just vastly improved.
Brandon Curry.
Well, it's probably 3rd in my opinion, but you know, the legs, they improve bit by bit, but just not improving enough.
He didn't post a lot of pictures this year like he did last year.
Yeah. So I mean, I saw him when he won the Arnold's Classic. I mean, wow, the guy is something else. Guy just
pretty.
The lower body is not big enough to beat the 2 other guys, but yeah, he's great. He'll be 3rd or 4th in minimum, you know, and who knows? You know, he won one before, so it can happen again if some guys are off. Yeah? But yeah,
I love Brandon Curry's physique. I think his waist, shoulder to waist taper is incredible. I think his upper body is phenomenal. But I agree, his legs need to come up a bit,
especially from the back. His hamstrings. I mean, from the back shots, they're kind of shallow, and just when you stand next to a Rami or a Hadi, I mean, it kind of exposes, and even a Bonac, that kind of exposes his weakness back there.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's a phenomenal. Yeah,
I just stand white, you know, to kind of hide that weakness, and you can't do that next to those other 2 guys. Yeah.
No.
But he's great. I mean, I have no doubt he will be in the first call out, you know.
Definitely.
I think the last one's Big Ramy, right?
Yep.
Am I missing anybody? That's who the last one on the list.
Steve's pick, right, Steve?
I mean, you know, this is the Olympia, guys.
Yeah.
this is how it goes. And Jean-Pierre, correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously Rami's going to win, even if he's a little off. I could be wrong, but
Well, not by much, because if Hardy is really on,
really,
so maybe he got to bring 95% at least. But yeah, if he has is he in the same shape he's last year, or even better, there's no doubt that he's going to blow everybody away.
yeah.
And he will not even be close if he's in the kind of shape again, so.
Yeah, he didn't really post any progress. I mean, he shows him training, but nothing really
His face
revealing.
His face is a little more sunken in than usual, but he'd be okay. Being with Dennis for this many weeks, and remember that he has an endless stamina on stage. Remember how he went the first into the post, the last one out, never even breathing. They had him like 3 or 4 times in a row, and he was just.
I mean, he does look a little leaner. I will say that.
I would put my money on him. I have no doubt he will win.
Yeah. He's definitely the heavy favorite moving in, unless something unfortunate happens on the, in the last couple of days, which, I'm sure with the team that he has, they're going to eliminate any potential for those mistakes. So.
Yep.
I just hope they do what they never really do, is look at everybody on the stage rather than just go with who's the favorite.
Yeah.
Actually look at everybody, how they look on that day, and judge them what they see in front of them on that day, rather than judge them on what's expected or what they've looked like in the past, because that's what they seem to have always done at the Olympia.
All right, so before we go, who's our top 5?
All right, it's Rami, Hardy, Brandon, Bonek, and then it becomes more difficult. I still hope Rolly will kind of surprise us and move into this 5th, 6th spot. But then looking at the results from the last few weeks, Ian is kind of the favorite for that.
About
5th. Nick or Ian? Sorry, Nick first, then Ian. So this is my top 6.
You think Nick's going to beat Ian again?
Yes, I believe so, because he beat him very handily last week. I mean, I get it, but that Ian wasn't in the best shape in the pre-judging. But even in the finale, when Ian was better, he was still beat him pretty easily, I would say. So I would say Nick 5th, and then if Bonek's legs are kind of smaller than I expect, Nick could even move to 4th. Always, of course, everybody has to be in shape, but everything will change.
Yeah.
So Ian 6th, and probably Hakeem and Hunter 7, 8, and then more maybe moving in there. I still hope for Hollingstad. What's his name? Hollingstad. I still hope.
Yeah.
I think James can be right up there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Is this his first Olympia?
Yeah. This is his first Olympia. He was qualified last year, but he didn't compete.
So I mean, I would be so happy if he's like grainy hard and moving into 5, 6, but I don't believe it.
Right.
I wouldn't put money on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to take into consideration the nerves and the stress of it being his first Olympia as well. So, but he says he's not. He says he's just kind of cool, calm, and just treating it like nothing. So
that's what I was going to ask the 3 of you, the former Olympians. What do you think is going through these guys' heads right now? Their first time.
Well, I remember first time, man, I had high expectations for myself, but I made a big mistake, man, in my first Olympia. And I took some Escalade in my shoulders, and that completely messed me up. But I got nervous doing that, because somebody told me I needed to try this out to make the shoulders bigger. But even getting there and going to it was an exciting part. But I just felt I messed up, and so I didn't have much confidence going in, man. I felt I was in a fish out of water in my first Olympia.
Ian, what about you? Ian.
I don't know. I think you want to be at your all-time best, and I think you've always got high expectations. I don't think any of those athletes, myself included when I did it, and probably Jean-Pierre and Steve, you don't go there just to make up numbers, or you're not happy just to be in the Olympia. You want to go in there and you want to win. And even though the odds of you winning are slim, that's got to be, I think, every athlete's mindset is, why would you put yourself through all that suffering and pain and sacrifice if you don't honestly believe that you could win the show? So, you know, it's nerve-wracking. It's definitely nerve-wracking. But I'm looking back at my first Olympiad, well, the only Olympia I ever did, it was a lot less nerve-wracking on the day than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I think James will nail it. I think James will come in dialed in. I think he's a pretty cool customer. I think, and I think that's what it really will boil down to on the day: who's nailed it and who hasn't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great physiques there. There's a lot of physiques that have got things missing, and they've got strengths and weaknesses. I think the top 4 are pretty predetermined, just like Jean-Pierre said. But after that, from 5th down, I think it could be anybody's. 5th through 10th could be anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about JP? Your first Olympia?
I was so consumed with this whole announcement of blood tests, and then I talked finally after I could never use diuretics in the amateur ranks. I was kind of excited to use some diuretics, but then when this whole announcement came, I was so consumed with figuring out how I'm going to do this. I looked really good, you know, till about 3 days before the show, and then I flattened myself out again. Then I was not nervous in any way at the Olympia. The problem was I had no awareness of what's going on stage and what I'm doing on stage. I remember Levroni at number 1, I was number 2, so they lined them all up. And then Levroni, everybody had to hit one pose. So Levroni hits his market kind of best pose, you know, that crab pose or whatever else from the front there. And I hit the same fucking pose. How stupid can you? You know, I mean, there's nobody other than maybe Phil Heath who ever came close to Kevin in that pose. But me, I'm hitting the same pose looking like an idiot. Not even hit it right, you know, so I had no awareness and everything went so fast, and, you know, the call outs and boom, and I was out. And you know, then later on, I watched the video, and, you know, I had no control over my stomach. But then the reason I placed still 8 was I had so strong poses, you know, but I was not nervous in any way. And I wish I would have this. What Ian said is right. You go in to win, but I didn't have that in '96. I was going in to place top 6. And then you start kind of dreaming, all right, maybe, you know, suddenly I could be 3, but, you know, but I didn't go in to win. That's unfortunate. I went in to win in '97, and no, and being nervous or anything, that I was not nervous at all. I was just presentation. You have to be aware of all the time where you're standing, next to where you stand, what to do next, what pose to hit, keep that freaking stomach in. And it just wasn't all there. I was just like stumbling around and backstage, more kind of looking how other people look, and a freaking disaster. But I wasn't nervous in any way. And then I placed only 8, you know.
Yeah.
So,
did you guys ever see anybody throw up backstage from nerves or anything?
No. Everybody, I don't remember anybody being nervous in any way, you know, on that level. I seen it on amateur level some of my athletes, but no, it was pretty cool back there. And I mean, there's a reason you're there, you know. You're
right.
You know, it's just.
Well, cool. We'll see. We're countdown. Got 3 days. So.
Yeah.
Steve, you said you're going?
Yeah, I got a couple of old buddies that are going to be there, so I'm going to go hang around on Saturday just during the pre-judge, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go inside the show. We'll see. You can still get tickets, but there's a lot of old buddies that have booths and stuff there. I'm going to go just spend some time and talk to some people, you know, make a little headway and see what's going on in that world again, man. It's been quite a long time. I was there last year.
Yeah.
And it was because it was so vastly put together. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't really a lot of things going on. It was just the show, and that was it. But this year, obviously, they've got their act together, and there's a ton of things going on. So I'm gonna go check it out, man. It's, you know, it's only 20 minutes from where I live.
Yeah, you're close to it.
Yeah.
So is Ryan. It's sold out. They're sold out, so no tickets. Well, that's all I got, guys. Unless you guys got something else, man. I appreciate appreciate everybody coming on. This is a great show. I love hearing you guys
Thanks for
talk.
having us, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. I'll put together a post Olympia show. So whoever wants to join, I'll be in touch.
Absolutely.
Are you not going, Jason?
No, I'm not going. No, I was going to get some tickets, and then the only tickets available were basically nosebleeders, and
Yeah.
it's not stadium seating; it's all flat. So, 'cause
Yeah.
I went last year, and I'd be looking at the monitor the whole time, and I can do that from home. So
Exactly.
It's the same reason I didn't go. Once I checked on the tickets, they were so far back, and
mhm.
I had some people promising me if I'm down there, they will get me and better seats, but that's not my style, So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
That's a big gamble to take.
Honestly, last year they didn't even check tickets. We just walked right in and sat to our seats.
but it's only the second Olympia I miss in maybe the third in 20 years. So I will definitely go back to the Olympia. I think probably next year it's probably back in Vegas. We'll see. So
That's what I
Yeah.
heard. Mhm.
Yeah, Dan Sullivan said that it will be back in Vegas next year. So
that moment when we're waiting for the first call out. I mean, it's a great moment, So it's I miss being there. So hopefully next year I'll be back there.
Okay. Well, that's all I got, gentlemen.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
yeah, man.
Awesome. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right. Bye.
See you guys.